Good morning, Arthur Offaly, ASNI TV. I'd like to tell you about a Christian group from North Belfast that I had the misfortune of meeting. Now, I attended what I thought was a Christian group called the Religious Society of Friends in North Belfast for almost 10 weeks. I myself run a victims group called Arthur Offaly Foundation, helping families whose relatives have been murdered in our so-called sham of a war by paramilitary groups such as Sinn Féin IRA, loyalist groups, security forces, both Army and RUC PSNI, also special branch and informers who have been working for the security forces with the full cooperation and knowledge of the British government. Now, I noticed that the Christian group had a few small rooms empty, so I approached them about leasing a small room as I needed somewhere to meet relatives to get their stories about their deceased loved ones, as I intend to send their stories to the War Crimes Commission in The Hague, who have agreed to look into their cases. As the so-called authorities here are prepared to sit back and do nothing for victims. After all, half of the so-called government who runs Northern Ireland at Stormont, put there by the British government, are the very terrorists who were involved in the 40-year sham war that killed many innocent men, women and children, who, by the way, had nothing to do with their illegal war. I was asked by the church group committee to attend a meeting to see their committee men about leasing the room. Now, I met 3 men and I explained to them what I wanted the room for, to help families get over the trauma of losing a loved one and to help them get some sort of justice for their loved ones. Suddenly, and without any reason, nothing I said seemed to get through to these people. They totally ignored the suffering of innocent victims. 2 members in particular showed no mercy at all for those killed, but had forgiveness for those who killed them. I found them to be totally pro-British in everything that they says, and as I listened to them speaking, I also found them to be anti-Irish. I noticed a big change in their manner when I mentioned innocent people who were murdered by the British forces and the RUC PSNI. Now, these people who are supposed to be Christians showed no respect for the dead. I found that very strange coming from so-called Christians whose meetings I have attended for the past 10 weeks. But in this private meeting, these people showed me a totally different side of them that made me feel very, very uncomfortable in their company. These 2 had only feelings for those who committed the crimes and spoke as if they'd done no wrong, which in my eyes is evil, and we all know who the Prince of Evil is. You don't have to be Einstein to work that one out. The group also appeared to be racist and put me in mind of a satanic group. Now, I left the meeting with a feeling that evil was present in these 2 men. They seemed to think that what I was doing, trying to help innocent victims and going out of my way to get justice for the loss of their loved ones, was totally wrong. I knew then and there that I was not going to get the room. I also think that being a Catholic didn't help me. I am an investigative journalist, and I will be looking into the practices of this group in North Belfast, and I will put my findings on file and put my story on YouTube for all to see. And let me say that I will never, never be attending this group again. I will be advising others to do the same. I will be in contact with their head office in Dublin and the other in London. I will also be sending them a DVD tape of my story, letting them know what type of people they have attending their Belfast group. Now, I found, just by meeting them that one day, they are satanic, racist and evil, and that worries me. Anyone who would like a tip of my story, or any one of my stories, can call me on my mobile 07715 921137 and I will send you a tip free. Thank you. Anyone who has a story to tell and wishes me to air it can call me on my mobile 07715 921137, or I can send out a reporter to give your story, and remember, I will tell your story. Nothing will be cut out. Watch more of my stories on YouTube, ArthurOffery.com, YouTube Arthur Offery, Arthur Offery Docker, YouTube Jackspot 2012. That tip is about my father's murdered by Sinn Féin IRA, and I have named the man who murdered him on it. My email address is arthuroffery1@gmail.com. Thank you for watching ASNI TV, and I will see you soon, and good morning.